Hi Bethel Sunday School. Thank you for joining us this week. I thought maybe today I would read you one of my favorite stories. It is also a Max Lucado book. I've read you some of these before, and this one is called You Are Special. This book is about some wooden people, and they're called Wemmicks, and about a wood carver named Eli. But as I read this story to you, see if the Wemmicks remind you of anything else, and see if Eli, the wood carver, reminds you of anyone else. And we'll talk about that at the end of the story. All right, I want you to be able to see the picture, so I'm just going to move to the side a bit and bring the book nice and close. And there we are. The Wemmicks were small wooden people. All of the wooden people were carved by a wood carver named Eli. His workshop sat on a hill overlooking their village. Each Wemmick was different. Some had big noses, others had large eyes. Some were tall and others were short. Some wore hats, others wore coats. But all were made by the same carver, and all lived in the village. And all day, every day, the Wemmicks did the same thing. They gave each other stickers. Each Wemmick had a box of golden star stickers and a box of gray dot stickers. Up and down the streets all over the city, people spent their days sticking stars or dots on one another. The pretty ones, those with smooth wood and fine paint, always got stars. But if the wood was rough or the paint was chipped, the Wemmicks gave dots. The talented ones got stars too. Some could lift big sticks high above their heads or jump over tall boxes. Still others knew big words or could sing pretty songs. Everyone gave them stars. Some Wemmicks had stars all over them. Every time they got a star, it made them feel so good. It made them want to do something else and get another star. Others, though, could do little, and so they got dots. Punchinello was one of these. He tried to jump high like the others, but he always fell. And when he fell, the others would gather around and give him dots. Sometimes when he fell, his wood got scratched, and so the people would give him more dots. Then, when he would try to explain why he fell, he would say something silly, and the Wemmicks would give him still more dots. After a while, he had so many dots that he didn't want to go outside. He was afraid he would do something dumb, such as forget his hat or step in the water, and then people would give him another dot. In fact, he had so many gray dots that some people would come up and give him a dot for no reason at all. He deserves lots of dots, the wooden people would agree with one another. He's not a good wooden person. After a while, Punchinello believed them. I'm not a very good Wemmick, he would say. The few times he went outside, he hung around other Wemmicks who had a lot of dots. He felt better around them. One day, he met a Wemmick who was unlike any he'd ever met. She had no dots or stars. She was just wooden. Her name was Lucia. It wasn't that people didn't try to give her stickers, it's just that the stickers didn't stick. Some of the Wemmicks admired Lucia for having no dots, and so they would run up and give her a star. But it would fall off. Others would look down on her for having no stars, so they would give her a dot. But it wouldn't stick either. That's the way I want to be, Punchinello thought. I don't want anyone's marks. So he asked the stickerless Wemmick how she did it. It's easy, replied Lucia. Every day I go see Eli. Eli? Yes, Eli, the wood carver. I sit in the workshop with him. Why? Why don't you go find out for yourself? Go up the hill. He's there." And with that, the Wemmick who had no stickers turned and skipped away. "But will he want to see me?" Punchinello cried out. Lucia didn't hear. So Punchinello went home. He sat near a window and watched the wooden people as they scurried around, giving each other stars and dots. "It's not right," he muttered to himself, and he decided to go and see Eli. He walked up the narrow path to the top of the hill and stepped into the big shop. His wooden eyes widened at the size of everything. The stool was as tall as he was. He had to stretch on his tiptoes to see the top of the workbench. A hammer was as long as his arm. Punchinello swallowed hard. "I'm not staying here," and he turned to leave. Then he heard his name. "Punchinello." The voice was deep and strong. Punchinello stopped. "Punchinello, how good to see you. Come and let me have a look at you." Punchinello turned slowly and looked at the large bearded craftsman. You know my name?" the little Wemmick asked. "Of course I do. I made you." Eli stooped down and picked him up and set him on the bench. The maker spoke thoughtfully as he looked at the gray dots. "Looks like you've been given some bad marks." "I didn't mean to, Eli. I really tried hard." "Oh, you don't have to defend yourself to me, child. I don't care what the other Wemmicks think." "You don't?" "No, and you shouldn't either. Who are they to give stars or dots? They're Wemmicks just like you. What they think doesn't matter, Punchinello. All that matters is what I think, and I think you are pretty special." Punchinello laughed. "Me? Special? Why? I can't walk fast, I can't jump, my paint is peeling. Why do I matter to you?" Eli looked at Punchinello, put his hands on those small wooden shoulders, and spoke very slowly. "Because you're mine. That's why you matter to me." Punchinello had never had anyone look at him like this, much less his maker. He didn't know what to say. "Every day I've been hoping you'd come," Eli explained. "I came because I met someone who had no marks," said Punchinello. "I know. She told me about you." "Why don't the stickers stay on her?" The maker spoke softly. "Because she has decided that what I think is more important than what they think. The stickers only stick if you let them." "What?" "The stickers only stick if they matter to you. The more you trust my love, the less you care about the stickers." "I'm not sure I understand." Eli smiled. "You will, but it will take time. You've got a lot of marks. For now, just come and see me every day and let me remind you how much I care." Eli lifted Punchinello off the bench and set him on the ground. "Remember," Eli said as the Wemmick walked out the door, "you are special because I made you, and I don't make mistakes." Punchinello didn't stop, but in his heart he thought, "I think he really means it." And when he did, a dot fell to the ground. And that's the end of our story. I picked this story because it's one of my favorites, and the reason it's one of my favorites is because the wood people remind me of someone, and Eli reminds me of someone. Who does it remind you of? Well, Eli reminds me of God, and the wooden people remind me of all the people in this world. And Punchinello kind of reminds me of myself. Sometimes I spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think of me, what other people think of how I look, what other people think of what I do and what I say and where I go, and why I do the things I do. And sometimes what other people think isn't very nice, and it can get discouraging. And I have to be reminded that there's really only one person whose opinion of me matters the most, and that's God. And if what I am saying and doing is honoring to God and it pleases God, then really it doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't feel nice for the Wemmicks when they got stars, and it doesn't feel nice for us when people say unkind things about us or talk about us behind our back. But really, if we're focused on God and we're focused on the fact that He made us the way we are on purpose and He doesn't make mistakes, the person you are is who God intended you to be. And He wants you to focus on Him and love Him, and He will lead and guide you, and you will grow to be more and more the person that He created you to be. And so this week, I'm going to encourage you all to remember that as you go about your business, as you do the things you do, remember that God made you special, and so you matter to Him. You're important to Him the way you are. And all He wants you to do is be like Lucia and go and see Him every day. How do we go and see God? We can't go sit in His workshop, but we can talk to Him through prayer. We can read our Bible, and we can ask adults in our lives who know to teach us about God's Word. And that's how we get to spend time every day with God, learning from Him and talking to Him. When we do that, He will show us who He wants us to be. And what everybody else thinks of us and what everybody else has to say about us will start to not matter that much. And just like that first dot fell off Punchinello, what people have to say about us and think about us will just kind of bounce off, and it won't affect us the same way. And so remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There's a verse in the Bible that says God knit us together in our mother's womb. That means He put us together even before we were born. He knew who we were going to be, and He made you special. Have a great week, everybody. Hope to see you soon.